Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome students to the online NPTEL course Contemporary Architecture and Design. In the previous class we started discussing about the deconstructive architecture style, and today we will continue that. So we have already discussed how deconstructive style of architecture was against the style of modern's purity of design. So you can see the difference, and there was a lot of elements, and which was against the minimalist idea of modernity, and this angularity which was going on with the which is going for the purity and of the design, even for the color, and then also it is creating a duality of this. It's hiding what is how the construction and the function of the building is going on. So the function of the building is it has a straight horizontal plate, but from outside there's inclined building. So these are the architectural features we have discussed. So it's opposing the ordered rationality of modernism. It's complex and in the contradiction of the contradiction of the purity, clarity and simplicity of modern internationalist movement. So it's the ornamentation is the complexity of geometry and structural imbalance, and it has a connection with the with the modern cubist art and the Russian structuralism. Another example of the deconstructive style is Jews Museum Berlin, which is designed in 2001 by Daniel Libeskind, of one of the deconstructive designer. He have also designed the One World Trade Center of New York after the demolition of the demolition of the attack of World Trade Center. So the new World Trade Center, the way he have designed first has a more deconstructive style, but finally it constructed also in a reconstructive style after some iteration of the design. So his design, Jews Museum of Berlin, talks about the Jews Jews history in the Germany. So it talks about the Germany, how Jews were there in the Germany, and then the Holocaust or the World War II, what happened to them during the World War, and then the how to Germany, again East and West Germany broke, and then again they came together. So all these were there in the Jews Museum, and there's the sad story of what happened to the Jews of this Germany, and that got depicted by the aesthetics and the design of this museum. So it's juxtaposed with the old Baroque style building. So you can see the Baroque style building, and it's a juxtaposition of this building, and it's a continuation of the museum which is there in the Baroque style building, and all these building together is creating a deconstructive style of the design. So you can see a deconstructive part of this of design is added also in the Baroque style building, in the courtyard of this Baroque style building, to connect this building with this already existing Baroque building. So you can see a similar style of this kind of thing has happened with the Museum of Louvre, when IMP is designing the glass pyramid of in front of this old the historic building, and most of the IMP's design of the Louvre was underground of this plaza in front of the old Louvre. So you just see the glass pyramid, which also has a postmodern deconstructive style building, because pyramid which has a very strong visual a cube which is stone and robust and totally opaque, and when IMPA is designing a glass pyramid in front of that, and which is which looks very fragile, and then there's a skylight underneath the pyramid which gives the light from outside, and this is what is there inside the plaza of this Louvre, old style Louvre museum. And so that's also a similar concept over here, so to connect the old style building with the new deconstructive building. So this building has an underground passage with the Berlin Museum of the Baroque wing, this is the Baroque wing of the Berlin Museum, and then there's an underground passage which connects this building, and this is designed as a symbol of the reunion of East and West Germany through the through the journey of this Jews. And you can see there's a void which is passing through this building, which is the central axis of this building, and there's a void, and which also symbolizes the this wall of wall between East and West Germany, and this structure creates a link, or like a jigsaw puzzle of this wall around this, and which stitches the East and West Germany. And so this radical zigzag design, which nicknamed, the local name is Blitz, like David Star, is as a deconstructive building, and you can see the fenestrations has a totally different inclination, and then there are a lot of angular lines, which this fenestration does not have any visual any sequential link with the other lines, and that's why it creates a very complex design form, and that is the visual style of this building. And here also you can see this structural members which comes out like and gives a very grunge look, and also through the zinc cladding, which is giving a very grayish look, and which goes with the sorrow and this of the Holocaust and the history of the Jews. So Daniel Libeskind explained this design in his words. So it talks about the creation and of Berlin walls, and the history of the Berlin Wall, and then how it went. The Germany was divided, and then again they came together. And this the things which he is depicting through the design is, the first is what he is saying, this to understand the history of Berlin and their intellectual and the Jews' impact of the Berlin. And then there's another thing is the Holocaust, which this building is talks about the Holocaust. And another thing is the acknowledgement and incorporation of this the void which is there in the Jews' life in the Berlin. So that central void, so which also is kind of a wall, and also this is a void from outside. From inside, this is a skylight, and that creates as a acts as a void in the building. So this also within the building, many of the spaces as very claustrophobic, and has a higher degree of inertia, with lines which is coming out at in a different angle, which creates a very claustrophobic situation. So there are three spaces in the basement floor, so the three intersecting axes, which symbolizes three events of Jews' history in the Germany. So there's a continuity. First there was a continuity with the German history, so the Germans are the Christians and the Jews were there was a continuity, so they were there in the history. But after that they immigrated from the Germany, and then the Holocaust or the Golden Butch in Germany. So that was that event, which was the Jews got mass murdered. So you can see the interior space of this museum. So this space does not have a very balanced proportion or ideal proportion of driven from the golden mean. So the proportion is creating a claustrophobia. So this distance versus this height is disproportionate, and that's what he have intentionally created. And when you start walking, so this is a space, this is a passage, so you have to walk on this passage, and then these metal faces are there as a floor, and you have to walk on the faces, and these faces has a very sad and crying expression, which depicts the dead and the sorrows and the death of the Jews, and you have to walk over these faces. So that gives a feeling of this the pain of this Jews people, and all this angularity and lines which is coming. So that gives that creates the ambience of this phobia in the design. So within that passage also, in this staircase, there are a lot of lines. These are not beams because in this within this passage you don't need so much of structural elements. So these are just for visual aesthetics, and these kind of elements are there. So and this is a outside facade, and this is also going on a different line, so you cannot see the link of this fenestration with the floors. So that all together gives a very claustrophobic and spaces, and then the phobia will be created within the design. And also there is a garden of exile. So this garden of exile has a series of concrete planter box, and then there is old olive trees, which also has goes with a gray tint, and this is exposed concrete, which also goes with a gray tint of the zinc cladding. And within the building, there's most the elements are all in gray to depict the sorrow. And also this olive trees, the color is grayish olive, is the grayish sap green is the color, which also depicts the sorrow of this, which is the theme of this museum. And also if you look at this planter box, this looks like a series of tomb which depicts the death of the Jews people. Now another design of this deconstructive style is the CCTV headquarter. This is designed by Rem Koolhaas mainly, with another architect, and Rem Koolhaas has many other designs which is also within the deconstructive style. So Rem Koolhaas is a deconstructive architect, so most of his design is in deconstructive style. So we'll just discuss one of his designs. So this is a 44-story skyscraper, and also Daniel Libeskind has many other design which follows which is on the deconstructive style. So if you look at Daniel Libeskind and Rem Koolhaas's other designs, so you can understand their visual pattern and how they're dealing with the deconstructive architecture style. So it's a 44-story skyscraper headquarter in China, of this China Central Television, and so you can see this. This is the form of this building. So this is the base of the building, and then again it is leaning towards this, and then it is hanging. Then the another part is just a mirror, so it's going from other side, and then it's again goes down, and then it's getting joined by with this floor. So you can see from this courtyard, if you look at, so this is a photograph from this courtyard. So these two are these elements, and this is the ground, is the base element which comes out of the ground, and then these two parts are the leaning part, and then this part is the cantilever, which is this part. So you can see this this building is structurally looks like it will fall apart, and then this because of this leaning part and this cantilever part, it has a higher kind of inertia to it looks like it will topple in this side. So that is what it's showing, that the construction like it has a higher degree of inertia, and that's what deconstructive architecture style talks about, like this Peter Eisenman's building, which is like tilted, so it's also giving a sense of tilted lines. And then also you can look at if you look at this lines which gives the clue of the fenestration on these are just line, because this totally this is cladded with a glass curtain wall, and so these lines are just aesthetic lines which comes from outside, but these are not the fenestration line. So these lines are created creating a pattern on the glass skin. So these lines are also not following, not totally following a very rhythmic pattern. So it's like zigzag patterns, which is creating giving a deconstructive feel of this building. And yeah, so this in totality, so this talks about deconstructive style, but in structure, so this load is getting carried by this cantilever and then getting supported by this part which is on the ground. But this has a very like this tilted, this overhang gives a very deconstructive feeling of this building. Now another example of deconstructive architecture style is Frank Gehry's design. So Frank Gehry's most all of the designs are deconstructive style, and this is the Frank Gehry style of design. And he have designed Walt Disney's some concert hall, and then he have many other designs. So Frank Gehry's work is huge, and so but this is the style of his design. So there will be titanium cladding, which is also gray in color, like the zinc cladding of Daniel Libeskin's museum. And most of his building has a titanium cladding. Even his own house, which is the mixture of which is renovated by him, and then there's a deconstructive style added to it, has also a titanium cladding. And this cladding is like a fish scale, so one cladding will overlap with the other cladding part. So you can see this, it looks like a fish scale, like fish scale overlaps with each other, so it gives that kind of feeling. So one part will be on top of the other part, so it will go in, and then it will be the cladding is like that. It's not a linear cladding, just like flushed with the other, so it's not like that. This is his style of architecture, and he uses this titanium cladding from outside. And all this line, if you look at, so this is not following each other, and this is a very complex kind of lines which are coming out of this thing, this design. And if you look at, so he is using a rectilinear line with the curvilinear style. So we have seen the Rem Koolhaas's design and Daniel Libeskin's design. So Daniel Libeskin's design has altogether, in totality, it's all rectilinear, so there is no curvilinearity added into the design. But in Frank Gehry's design, it will be curves and the rectilinear. It's a very difficult it's very difficult to deal with curve and as well as the rectilinearity. So you are adding two different things in the visual palette. Either if it can be either rectilinear lines, or it can be totally curvilinear lines, so then there's a visual, it's easy, and there's one particular style. But when there's two things added, like one part is curvilinear and then one is rectilinear, and then there's a curve and then another curve and then rectilinearity, so this is quite this is difficult to achieve and and create a complete visual composition. So this is this installation is called Maman, which is the meaning of this is mother. So this is a mother of mother spider, which has eggs inside her belly, and it can be visible, and it also has a deconstructive style. It's designed by one of the famous a sculptor, and this is made out of metal casting. And you can see the scale, and which is there in the in front of this building for many of the generally it is there. So it all Mammon also goes, because it's an installation, it can go, it goes to other museum, but mostly it is there in front of this Bilbao Guggenheim Museum. Now Bilbao Guggenheim Museum also, as we were discussing, that it has some difficulty during the construction, because of it came from a very complex way of creating the facade, and the fluidity, the concept of the fluidity came from this concept of creating a dynamic form. So it also comes from a cubist concept. So it's broken, all these lines are broken into cubes, and you can see the lines which is there in the Guggenheim Museum has quite similarity with the work of cubist paintings. And so the concept of this facades of in Frank Gehry's facade, so the way he tilts and creates it. So it's like one particular facade is flowing in different direction, and it's like a space-time continuity, and it's like getting curved. So that was also there in the concept of Cubist movement. And if you look at some of the Cubist movements, like even like Le Corbusier's painting. Le Corbusier's painting was Cubist. So if you look at his paintings of guitar and other things, so he will paint the guitar from in plan, and then he will show the elevation of the guitar. Even the bottle will be shown in the elevation, and then bottleneck will be on the plan. So it's like the element which is visible in the different, has the most identifiable thing from a particular visual angle, that will be shown. Like we all know that the bottleneck is circular, so he will paint that as a circular, and then the bottle shape is visible in elevation, so that is on the elevation. Again, the guitar and other elements, which is the front part of the guitar, which is most visible in plan, so he will draw it in plan, and then he will show the depth of in the elevation. So there is no particular angle from one particular angle when we are perceiving it. It's not like a photograph, it's like an experience. So whatever from which side the experience is the best, that will be shown. And so as in the Picasso's painting like Las Meninas and Guernica, so the experience of that particular facade which is most strong in our mind, that will be visible. So here what Gehry and other deconstructive architects do is it's the experience of a facade. So if you click a photograph of a particular from a particular side, so this facade will give you your experience in the fourth dimension, which is the time. So these facades are like turning and twisting, though you are clicking a particular photograph which is 2D, but the facades are turning. So I will show you Gehry's cube, and then I'll explain it in again with his thing. So here these facades are turning like a cubist painting. So you can see this was difficult during that time when he was designing. It's 1997, but still that time it was creating the structure was quite difficult, and you can see the amount of construction element was though it is steel, and the amount of structural elements was there to take the load and of this facade, because it came from a visual perspective. And if you look at Gehry's way of design, so he creates a form with the cut pieces of papers, and then he after creating the form, he fits into the function. So it's form driven. So a form function follows form. That's the principle, and that's why this is the building is aesthetically so beautiful. And but inside the building, there's the functions and the structures are fitted after the form is generated. So you can see the structural elements which comes within and then holds different facades, like the glass curtain wall and as well as the other structural members together. Now this is the Gehry's cube, and this Gehry's cube, so it could have been just a cube, and then we can only see a few surfaces, but this is turning and twisted, so this is an experience of a cube. So cube is like which has a 90 degree, so it is also a 90 degree in actual perspective, but because when we see cube in time dimension, we can rotate and we can experience the cube and all the surfaces of the cube. So that's why we are not rotating, but the cube is getting rotated to cube is rotated, and that's why this is a truncated, and there's a torque applied on the top, and that's why this is rotating. And so actually like it's an experience. The way you see the cube, and you rotate the cube in front of your eyes, or you just see the cube from all the direction, and that's what he's trying to capture. So this is like a particular facade, which is, that's why his each and every facade is getting rotated. So you can see all these facades which is turning and twisting in different direction. So which the principle can be understood from this cube. So this is actually having a time dimension in the 3D. So architecture which is a 3D is having a dynamic, it's capturing the time, which is has to create a more dynamic form. So this is Richard Serra's sculpture. So this is called sculpture sequence, designed in 2006, which is there in the Bilbao Museum in the installation here. In this installation is there in this is the installation gallery of this for this Richard Serra's work. So Richard Serra's work is there within the Bilbao Museum, Guggenheim Museum. So this talks about the space-time continuity. So these installations these are made out of plywood, and you can see the scale, and so you have to experience this and walk through this, and you can understand the relationship between the space and the enclosure and the time. So in one installation, the bottom part, which is like the footprint, is constant, and this goes up and then it goes tilted, and then it takes different form. In one installation, the this shape, which is the cross section or the sectional space, is this area is constant, and then it can be like this. It can turn and twist. In some cases, the upper part is constant, and then you experience different the relationship with the space and time. Now, this is another example by great deconstructive architect is Zaha Hadid, but Zaha Hadid's design has more curvilinearity than a rectilinear form of Gehry and Rem Koolhaas, but Zaha Hadid's form are mostly curvilinear, and she was an mathematician before joining AA of UK, and she so most of the design which she designs is driven from the mathematical formula. So it's mostly parametric architecture. So in parametric architecture, so mathematical parameters are driven first, and then mathematically all these lines are created through mathematical formula, and through these through these lines the design is evolved. So all these lines which is created in first, and then these lines will take form of a structure or the interior spaces or the fenestration, and these lines will be there in the design. So and first the formula or the parameters come. First the parameters come, then the formula of mathematical derivation, and then the design elements, which is the lines, come, and then from this line it will be translated into the architectural element. And in this architectural element, it can be interior element, it can be the construction element, it can be the fenestration and other elements which is there in the architecture. So you can see first, it has a, but these lines which is coming mostly in Zaha Hadid's style, it is very curvilinear, but there are some examples of Zaha Hadid's works where she is using very rectilinear and crisp lines as well. This fluid curvilinear lines are driven from the parametric design, and the lines are generated. In this case, the line is in the case of Maxi Museum of Rome, Italy, which is designed in the 2010, was designed through the urban grid. The urban grid line, which is coming from this pathways and the nodes and the other built form, the line which she is taking that line, like you can see, this is a parallel line starting as a parallel line, and then it flows and ends as a parallel line of the other building. So this is taking, it's contextually responding to the other lines which is there in the building. And also from other areas, this nodes node of the road is helping to derive this line which is there throughout this building. So it is flowing, this urban grid which is generated from this urban lines are flowing in the exterior as well as the interior of this building. So all these lines which is getting generated, is sometimes this is the skylights, and then this changes to the also in the illumination. These lines are there in the illumination of the interior spaces and also the walkway, and this walkway is also getting converted into the staircases, and all these lines are there in the interior as well as in the outside of this building. Now other designs of Zaha Hadid is like this center in Baku. So you can see this line which is like a Mobius strip. So Mobius strip is a continuous strip which changes its direction, like it can be in this direction and then changes and turns and then merges with the of the other side. You can see Mobius strips, different example on the Google. So it's not a strip which is like this, so it turns and then changes the direction. So if you start from this side, you will go and go to the other side of this strip. So it works as a Mobius strip, and which flows from, it starts with the wall and then it becomes the roof, and again it comes as a wall, and this another lines which flows from this roof to wall, and this is blended. And here also this is a Beko's master plan, and so here this landscape lines which is coming from a landscape starts with the building and then goes on top of the building, and the same landscape lines are acting as a fenestration. So all these lines are combined from the landscape, and which is coming from the road to the landscape and then to the building, and all these lines are emerging from and blending with the others. So that's her style of design. And in many cases, so there are many other urban design and city planning in Zaha Hadid's design. So all these lines are coming in urban design scale as well. The lines are coming from the parametric style, and they're flowing into the roads to the building, and then they're all intertwined and combined together. And also she has designed master plan, as well as she have designed in a very micro scale like product design, but the same kind of visual style is also there. So there are some examples of product design and fashion design. So and product is also ranging from different scale. So it's like wall cabinet to the table, and this is another table designed by her. So you can see the fluid line which is coming as a table. So this is just one line which is giving the form of the table, and again in this table also this is a very curved porcelain as a material of the table is designed like that. Now these are the shoes designed by Zaha Hadid. Also you can see the shoes for the girls has the same kind of continuous strips and the voids, which you can see in her design. In architecture is the same kind of visual style and visual qualities are maintained in the fashion design as well as the product design. So this is a yacht designed by this is conceptual design by Zaha Hadid. So in the yacht as well, so you can see all this fenestration, and the structural members of this yacht is again has the same kind of lines by Zaha Hadid. So in the next class we will discuss a few of the examples from industrial design and product design and art. So architectural part of this postmodern style is ended over here. So few other examples we will see in the final class, but mostly we will discuss right now onwards on the product design and fine arts.